The Nightly Business Report.
Good evening. Tonight, Sri Lanka and Indonesia pledged stronger bilateral ties and economic cooperation in a significant bilateral meeting during the 10th World Water Summit. The nation to expect talks very soon with the sovereign bondholders, State Finance Minister says without giving a date. The stock market experiences a partial recovery as one index rebounded while the other continued on a negative trajectory. And Apple makes a move by slashing prices in China as it looks to defend its position from local rivals.
From Studio 24, here's Sina Mayadune.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. In a significant bilateral meeting during the 10th World Water Summit, President Ranil Wickremesinghe and Indonesian President Joko Widodo reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening the long-standing relationship between their nations.
The discussions, which covered a wide range of regional and international issues, underscored the importance of collaboration in addressing global challenges, the President's media division reported. A major topic of discussion was the critical issue of water management. President Wickremesinghe emphasized the importance of the World Water Summit and expressed Sri Lanka's willingness to participate in the Global Blended Financial Alliance, an initiative aimed at addressing common financial challenges faced by the countries in managing water resources. President Widodo, in his remarks, focused on the economic cooperation between the two countries. He stressed the need to finalize the preferential trade agreement by the first quarter of 2025 to enhance economic ties. Additionally, he highlighted Indonesia's interest in entering the Sri Lankan vaccine market through Indonesian pharmaceutical companies and called for lifting of import restrictions on Indonesian palm oil and related products.
State Minister for Finance Shahan Seymour-Singh said without giving a date that Sri Lanka is expecting a second round of talks with private investors very soon to restructure sovereign bonds.
Sri Lanka is planning to complete debt restructuring by June 2024 and go to the IMF board for the next round. I cannot specify a timeline, but we are confident and optimistic that a second round of talks will commence very soon, Minister Seymour-Singh told reporters in Colombo. The bondholders have proposed restructuring bonds linked to dollar GDP growth. They have also proposed a $500 to $1,000 billion governance-linked bond where coupons will fall if anti-corruption benchmarks and revenue targets in an International Monetary Fund program is met, following an initiative proposed by the Colombo-based Verity Research at the first round of face-to-face talks. Sri Lanka has about $12 billion of sovereign bonds to restructure and some more miss coupons. Minister Seymour-Singh said he did not want to comment on individual proposals, but Sri Lanka is confident of reaching an amicable in line with the principles of comparability and compliance with the debt sustainability assessment of the International Monetary Fund.
The Minister of Agriculture and Plantation Industries has said that a delegation from the Michelin Group has visited Sri Lanka to review the country's compliance with the EU's regulation on deforestation-free products in the cultivation of rubber.
The regulation of deforestation-free products, which comes into effect from December 30th this year, seeks to guarantee that products European Union citizens consume do not contribute to deforestation or forest degradation worldwide. Sri Lanka, which exports rubber and related products, has agreed to implement the policies of this act. Around 30% of rubber exported by the country is bought by countries belonging to the European Union. The Michelin team evaluated the measures taken by Sri Lankan government to expand rubber cultivation in Sri Lanka without destroying forest. Minister Amaravira, who met with the delegation, assured them that no efforts will be made to expand rubber cultivation in the wet zone of the island and instead steps have been taken to use lands in the dry zone. The minister said that other export agricultural crops, such as pepper, will be instead cultivated in the wet zone.
The total exports for the month of April 2024 was recorded as $1,114 million, increasing 1.25% over the corresponding period of 2023.
As per the provisional data released by the Sri Lankan Customs, the merchandise export performance in April 2024 amounted to $813.81 million, recorded a decrease of 4.1% compared to April 2023. The estimated value of service exports for the month of April 2024 was $300.41 million, increasing 19.28% over the corresponding period of 2023. Export earnings from tea, which made up to 12% of merchandise exports, increased 2.2% year-on-year to $95.46 million in April 2024 compared in April 2023. This increase is mainly due to the strong performance of export of bulk tea. Furthermore, volume of tea exports increased by 12.03% in April 2024 compared to last year, April 2023. Additionally, tea exports to UAE, Iraq and Saudi Arabia markets increased by 61.25%, 57.11% and 40.23% respectively. Moreover, export earnings from rubber and rubber finished products have increased by 21.18% year-on-year to $66.58 million in April 2024, with the strong performance in exports in pneumatic and retreated rubber tires and tubes.
The Department of Census and Statistics has released the National Consumer Price Index with a new index reference period and inflation rate for the month of April 2024. The year-on-year inflation was recorded at 2.7%, while the year-on-year food inflation was at 3.3%. Year-on-year non-food inflation was shown as 2.3%. The monthly change recorded was 0.9%. NCPI in April 2024 has decreased to 208.2 from 210.0 in March 2024. Month-on-month change contributed by minus 0.6% from food and minus 0.29% from non-food. NCPI core in April 2024 has decreased to 193.9 from 194.5 in March 2024, and the general price level has increased by 108.2% compared to the index reference. Let's go in for a short commercial break. More updates right after this. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. The Colombo Stock Exchange experienced a partial recovery during today's trading session following a negative start, though it has not fully rebounded. For the insights, let's join Minal Wickramagai from Capital Alliance Securities.
Trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange ended the day with a decline of the all-share price index, ending at 12,216 points, marking an 18.2% decrease from the previous 18.2 point decrease from the previous session, with a turnover of 1.3 billion rupees. However, it is important to note that the market did slightly recover towards the latter part of the trading session, as we did experience an uptick in market activity. The S&P SL20 index also experienced a downward movement of 6 points to end the day at 3,608.71 points. Notable institutional engagement was observed across various sectors, with significant turnover in John Kills Holdings, Browns Investments PLC and Lanka IOC. The top 5 gainers for the day were Industrial Asphalt PLC, Equity 2, Lighthouse Hotel PLC, Chemenex PLC and Exterminators PLC. The top 5 losers for the day were SMB Leasing non-voting, Blue Diamonds Jewellery non-voting, Tess Agro PLC and the Colombo Land and Development Company. Foreign purchases for the day amounted to 210 million rupees, while foreign sales amounted at the end of the day to 112.6 million rupees.
The average weighted prime lending rate has become increasingly attractive, spurring heightened activity among both borrowers and lenders. For a detailed summary on the recent behavior of the AWPR, let's go to Anjali Matthews joining us from First Capital Holdings.
The average weighted prime lending rate, also identified as the AWPR, has been on a continuous downward trend over the last 18 months, with a significant decline in interest rates, and as of last Friday has dropped to a 2-year low, reaching 9.65%, which is the lowest since March 2022. The rate fell by 27 basis points from 9.92% a week ago, while recording 20.34% a year ago. The significant contraction in credit growth during the second half of 2023 and the lower demand recorded during the first quarter of 2024 amid slower economic activity are the primary reasons for the decline. We expect the AWPR is likely to bottom out within the 9% to 10% range with the pickup in economic activity and consumer demand, while the bulk of credit growth is likely to be recorded in the second half of 2024. With First Capital Research expecting private credit to grow by 7.5% for the full year of 2024. Today's Treasury bill auction also witnessed a similar downward trend in rates, with yields falling by 27 to 28 basis points across the tenors. The fall in the auction yields may influence a deeper fall in AWPR. However, a pickup in demand for credit may slow down any further declines. The monetary policy decision expected next week might also be crucial to influencing the AWPR direction.
In today's Asian trading session, gold prices dropped, pulling back from the recent peak of $2,450 amid diminishing uncertainties in Iran, which reduced the metal's safe haven appeal. Gold prices retracted to $2,437.66 amid easing geopolitical concerns and U.S. rate hike fears. Ongoing concerns about the U.S. interest rates also continued to exert pressure, as Federal Reserve officials sought more proof of declining inflation before reducing interest rates. The attractiveness of gold waned. Additionally, the dollar strengthened in anticipation of the Fed's late April meeting minutes set for release tomorrow, adding further pressure on gold prices. Oil prices extended losses today, with investors expecting lingering U.S. inflation to keep interest rates higher for longer, depressing consumer and industrial demand. Brent crude futures fell 64 cents or 0.7% to $83.07 a barrel. The U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude slipped by 64 cents or 0.8% to $79.16. Both benchmarks fell by nearly 1% yesterday after U.S. Federal Reserve officials said they were awaiting more signs of slowing inflation before considering interest rate cuts. Iranian President Ebrahim Raisi, a hardliner and potential successor to the Iranian throne, died in a helicopter crash on Sunday, and meanwhile the Saudi Crown Prince postponed a trip to Japan due to his father's health. But the market appeared largely unaffected by political uncertainty in two major oil-producing countries. The Sri Lankan rupee has appreciated slightly further against the US dollar today compared to yesterday, according to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka. Accordingly, the buying rate of the US dollar has dropped to 294 rupees and 78 cents, while the selling rate has dropped to 304 rupees and 31 cents. Let's observe how the rupee behaved against the other global currencies. Proceeding to a commercial break now, this is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. State-owned Bank of Ceylon has decided to divest 100% of its shareholding in its subsidiary BOC Travels Private Limited.
This was done on a direction issued by the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, as the key business activities of the BOCT did not fall within the purview of the Banking Act No. 30 of 1988, the company said in a stock exchange filing. The principal activities of the bank, stated its 2023 annual report, during the year were personal banking, corporate banking, development banking, offshore banking, trade financing, leasing financing, primary dealing, investment banking and wealth management, treasury operations, correspondent banking and money remittances, Islamic banking, bank assurance, pawning, credit card facilities, foreign currency operations and other financial services. The principal activities of its subsidiaries listed BOC Travels Private Limited as engages in travel-related services. The government budget unveiled on November 13th allocated 450 billion rupees for the recapitalization of the two state banks, including BOC, to ensure financial system stability.
a timely medical life insurance plan that enables a policyholder to build up a medical fund that can pay for medical needs for up to 20 years after the original plan matures, has been launched by Selingco Life in response to the evolving needs of the market.
Selingco Life Medical Saver is positioned as the first health insurance plan in the country to cover medical needs of today, tomorrow, beyond policy maturity. It offers local and global hospitalization cover and reimbursements for medical and surgical expenses, life cover with supplementary benefits for the term of the policy, and saving for future medical expenses after policy maturity, creating a backup health fund for medical needs during retirement. When the policy comes to an end, the Selingco Life Medical Saver plan offers the policyholder the option of receiving the accumulated medical fund as a lump sum or the continued maintenance of the fund for an extended period with two payment options, periodic withdrawals for emergency as when required, or fixed monthly payout for medical expenses.
Sri Lanka will be able to deploy its first credit and debit card-enabled vending machines following a collaboration between the Commercial Bank of Ceylon and Ceylon Business Appliances.
Advancing consumer convenience and embracing technological innovation, the collaboration will result in the introduction of a fully automated, near-field technology-enabled vending machine service branded Grabit across Sri Lanka. These machines will accept contact and well as contactless card payments. The bank said this is the first time a Sri Lankan bank has engaged with a fintech company to offer such a technological advanced solution in the retail sector. The state-of-the-art IM30 point-of-sale machines supplied by the CBA have been seamlessly integrated into these vending machines, allowing them to accept Visa, MasterCard, UnionPay, LankaPay, and JCB cards with payment processed by a commercial bank internet payment gateway.
DFCC Bank was honoured for its marketing campaigns on digital platforms with the 4 prestigious Gold Awards for outstanding creativity, innovation, effectiveness and corporate social responsibility at the illustrious award ceremony held in Mumbai. The ACEF event, established in 2012 and 2013, is a prominent platform that fosters learning, networking and recognition in customer engagement, branding, marketing and corporate social responsibility. DFCC's marketing initiatives have been acknowledged on the international stage at the highly esteemed ACEF Global Customer Engagement Awards 2024. This is the 4th consecutive year DFCC has won and took home an impressive 4 gold awards, solidifying its position as a global leader in consumer engagement. A short commercial break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Asian shares mostly fell today, even as most US stock indices finished higher, especially technology issues like Nvidia. Japan's benchmark Nikkei 225 rose 0.2% in early trading to 39,141.08. Australia's S&P ASX 200 lost 0.2% to 7,851.90, while South Korea's Kospi fell 0.4% to 2,732.26. Hong Kong's Hang Seng dove 2.1% to 19,233.09, while the Shanghai Composite shed 0.4% to 3,159.90. In Asia, investors are focused on signs about the health of Chinese economy. S&P Global Market Intelligence raised this year's growth forecast to 4.8% from 4.7% in April, but stressed it was not overly optimistic. On US stocks now, the Nasdaq closed at a record high while the S&P 500 gained slightly as technology stocks advanced ahead of Nvidia's highly anticipated earnings and investors gauged the timing of an interest rate cut by the Federal Reserve.
Tech stocks powered the Nasdaq to a record high on Monday, ahead of Nvidia's highly anticipated earnings. But gains weren't seen across the board. The Dow shed about 0.5%, the S&P 500 ticked up nearly 0.1%, and the Nasdaq gained more than 0.6. The S&P's technology index, up more than 1%, outperformed the S&P's other major sectors, boosted by chipmakers such as Nvidia, which added nearly 2.5%. Investors will look for evidence in NVIDIA's earnings on Wednesday that the AI chip leader can maintain its explosive growth and stay ahead of rivals. Also on Wednesday, minutes of the Federal Reserve's latest monetary policy meeting are scheduled to be released. A solid earnings season and signs inflation may be starting to cool again have reignited hopes for Fed rate cuts this year, pushing Wall Street's indexes to record levels. The recent rally has started to raise concerns about stock valuations, with the S&P trading at a forward price-to-earnings ratio of 20.8, well above its historic average of 15.9, according to LSEG data. But the Dow on Monday was weighed down by a 4.5% drop in JP Morgan shares after CEO Jamie Dimon said he was, quote, cautiously pessimistic about the bank's net interest income. In other company news, shares of Johnson Controls International rose more than 2%, following a report activist investor Elliott Investment Management built a position worth over $1 billion in the building solutions provider. And Norwegian Cruise Line shares surged more than 7.5% after lifting its annual profit forecast.
South Korea and United Kingdom are co-hosting the AI Seoul Summit starting today. The event aims to outline a vision for governing AI technology building on the declaration made at last year's AI Safety Summit in England.
South Korea and Britain are working to reach a joint statement with world leaders on advancing innovation, safety and inclusivity in artificial intelligence in a virtual summit co-hosted by the two nations. In a briefing Monday, South Korea's top office said the AI Seoul Summit will kick off on Tuesday, with the leaders of G7 nations, Singapore and Australia invited to follow up on the first AI Safety Summit last November. While the Bletchley Park Summit focused on addressing threats to humanity posed by the fast-evolving technology, this whole session will expand the agenda to include innovation and inclusivity, with leaders expected to adopt an agreement on the way forward. Heads of international organizations, including the United Nations and the European Union, as well as global tech giants like Samsung, Naver, Google, Amazon and OpenAI have also been invited. In a joint op-ed on Monday, President Yoon Suk-yeol and British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak emphasised the need for global standards to regulate and mitigate risks posed by AI, to transform lives for the better, and stop the global race to the bottom. They said the AI's whole summit is expected to set out a vision for multilateral governance of the technology to tackle global challenges such as poverty and climate change. President Yoon, beginning with his New York initiative in 2022, has actively promoted global efforts to form norms on advancing digital innovation for the benefit of humanity, whilst expanding access and rights to gain from technology. On the second day of the summit, a ministerial session and the AI Global Forum will take place offline to expand the conversation. A presidential official told reporters China was not invited to join the leaders' meeting, in line with the first AI Safety Summit, but Beijing has agreed to participate in the ministerial session on Wednesday. Acknowledging the differences on governing technology, namely between liberal democracies and Beijing, the official said such issues are likely to be discussed throughout the summit.
Apple has launched an aggressive discounting campaign in China as it looks to defend its position in the high-end smartphone market from local rivals such as Huawei.
Apple slashed iPhone prices in China on Monday. The US tech giant launched an aggressive discounting campaign on its official Tmall site in the country. It offered discounts of $318 on select iPhone models. It comes as Apple looks to defend its position in the high-end smartphone market. The company currently faces more competition from local rivals like Huawei. Last month, Huawei introduced its new series of high-end smartphones, the Pura 70. That followed the launch of the Mate 60 last August. Apple's discount offer runs from May 20th to the 28th and is more substantial than the offer made in February. The steepest discount applies to the 1TB iPhone 15 Pro Max model. Other makes have also seen big price cuts.
Well, that's it from all of us at the Nightly Business Report. We'll see you again tomorrow with more updates. Until then, I'm Sina Mayadune. Have a good night.